If you want a successful podcast, unfortunately, you're not able to just record and post and hope people come and listen. In this episode, I'm actually going to share the steps that I do when I'm producing a podcast episode, whether it's for myself or for one of my clients. When I first started in the podcast space, people would just record episodes, post them, and wait for people to come. And now that podcasting is more saturated, you could say, than it was, say, 10 years ago, you have to put a little bit more work into it, especially if you're a business owner hoping to use this for your business. So I'm going to give you the steps of what I do to produce a solid podcast episode that grows my business, that grows my clients' businesses, because why else would we really be doing it if it's a business podcast, right? We want some sort of ROI. The first thing we do before we even press record is figure out what the podcast is about or why someone should care about this topic. This helps with the episode planning. I meet with my clients quarterly and we come up with a plan for the next quarter, of course, with room for flexibility. Here's what I do when I'm doing this quarterly planning. Number 1, who is the audience? Number 2, what do they care about, especially in this season right now? So I'm recording this in December. A lot of the topics are going to be around like New Year or end of year, wrapping up, your busy season, your slow season, what to do in between. What does your audience care about right now, and what content can you then create for them? Then find some guests that will reinforce the theme that you're going for, or record some solo episodes. This is the planning phase before you even press record. This is important because if you don't have a good episode that people care about, it doesn't matter how hard you promote it, they're just not going to care. Okay, so we've done our planning. We're good on that. Next, you're going to record. I recommend using a platform like Riverside, or I'm on Squadcast right now. These are for podcasting and are way better than Zoom will ever be. Okay, so use something like that. After you're done with that, let's say you're DIYing your podcast. That's probably why you're listening, so you can know which steps it takes. You planned, you recorded, you're solid with the episode. Now we take it to editing. Editing is actually a really important step in podcasting. No one really wants to hear a unedited 35-minute episode full of breaks and ums and pauses. People these days have such short attention spans that you need to start with a hook, clean it up, get it going, boom, boom, boom. Here's your call to action, done. So that's what we're looking for when we're editing. It's not necessarily big edits. It's really just tightening things up. There are a lot of people that say, I'll just record and post, and people don't care about the raw feeling. I think that's being lazy. I think you owe it to your audience to edit, even if it is just a little bit. Hopefully you're still listening after I said that. But that's the truth. I think that's a really important part. So you've added your intro and outro, and now it comes time to pull some social media clips. Whether you're doing a video podcast, which is ideal in 2026, or you're doing just an audio podcast, which you can still get a lot of content from, you're pulling some sort of social media from it. I love working on video podcasts, and that's definitely what you should be doing in 2026. So I'm going to talk about that. You can use an AI platform like Descript or Opus to pull some clips, or you can pull them manually. And what you're going to want from that is something that goes along with like the goals that you have for your business. AI is getting better, but they're not quite there yet. If you know your business goal is and why you're doing this podcast, you will be able to pull solid clips that will work with your social media audience. I don't think the intention of these clips need to be going viral. Some of my podcast clips get the lowest interaction on my pages, but they're the ones that actually convert. Whenever someone asks to work with me or reaches out to me, they talk about listening to my podcast, seeing the clips, all of those things. So my goal is not being viral, and that's not the goal of a lot of my clients either. They want to build the trust with their podcast, whether that is with one person, 100 people, or 1 million people. So keep that in mind when you're pulling clips. Okay, so you have now planned, recorded. You've also done the editing. You've pulled some clips. Now it's time for show notes. I have an episode all about show notes and titling. I would recommend you to listen to those because that's really where just like some of the findability will be, some SEO. So pay attention to that. After that, after you write the show notes, the clips, I give the titles, you've done all of that. Now it's time to post it. You can go ahead and schedule the podcast. What I personally use is Spotify for creators, but Podbean is my favorite paid platform. Buzzsprout is a close second. I do like Buzzsprout a lot. So I would pick one of those two. Spotify for creators, so I guess those three. Spotify for creators is free. Buzzsprout and Podbean are both paid, but they're really great platforms. And post on YouTube. Just go ahead and do that. Schedule it. All right, you're almost done. Next, which is a part that you do not want to forget about doing, is the actual promoting of the episode. So remember in the beginning how I said a lot of people will just post and wait for people to come? Well, you're going to be different. You are going to be promoting your episode. Take it to your social media platform. Take it to LinkedIn. Take it to your Instagram stories. And give a little teaser of the podcast episode, but then also share what it's about. Create some slides. If you're on LinkedIn, create an article. If you're on Instagram, do some stories. Share the clips that you pulled. All of this will help with the growth of it. And that's really the rinse and repeat podcast episode strategy that I use for myself, I use for my clients. Of course, like there's planning and strategy that goes into it. I kind of just was like, do that. But that's really like, that's it, right? So plan, create a solid episode, promote the episode. It's that simple. A lot of people get stuck on one of these pieces. So if you are one of those people, let me know and I will give you some tips. That's my favorite thing to do. So I encourage you to do that. Follow those 3 steps and let me know what you think. This was a really short Espresso Shot episode, but the podcast production piece might take a little bit longer than I'm explaining, but those are the essentials. If you have questions, come and let me know. This is exactly what I do for my clients and myself. So if you want some expert hacks, you want some help with it, just send me a message and we'll have a conversation. I appreciate you listening and check back tomorrow for another guest episode. Thank you so much for joining me in the Podcast Cafe. I hope you're leaving with fresh ideas and inspiration to take your podcast to the next level. Remember, podcasting is a journey and you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to help you every step of the way. Let's connect. Be sure you follow me on Instagram at Espresso Podcast Production or visit espressopodcastproduction.com for more tips, resources, and behind the scenes insights. I'd love to hear about your podcasting journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more podcasters just like you find the show. Until next time, grab your coffee, keep creating, and I'll see you back here in the Podcast Cafe.